Part 3. Externalization of the Christos energy. The law of perfection. Declaration for the freedom of humanity. Saint Germain, 24th December, 2022. Invocation. Mighty infinite presence, all-pervading intelligence, all-pervading substance of the cosmic Christ, white fire light substance, ascended Jesus Christ, now manifest through us your mighty radiance. Out of the fullness of your radiant life, fill us with your agape love to go forth in the service of humanity, Mother Gaia, the elementals, devas, and angelic host. I am that I am. Saint Germain. Blessings, brothers and sisters of my heart. As this is going to be the final discourse of this book presentation for the purpose of opening this cosmic Christ mandate and declaration for the freedom of humanity to the masses, I want you to know that I understand that the nature of the human physical being will have many questions, and indeed will question most everything about the changes to come now, to the point of great confusion. However, in that confusion, in time will come a great self-realization that there is far more to being human than the whole of the human race once believed. God did not create human beings or human races to suffer. Human races were created to be free and to understand the full process of human evolution itself. For the human evolution could never be understood without the physical living experiences of it. And that is why, in the case of human life upon Earth, and 250,000 human races who presently have taken upon the form of those you see around you in the world, in all their myriads of shapes, sizes, colors, creeds, and beliefs. Indeed, in all their multitudes of what appears through human eyes as the imperfections of physical life. From the godly state of being, everyone and everything is unconditionally perfect. From a conventional human perception, perfection doesn't exist. Excellence, then, is the best you can achieve, and achieving it takes time and practice. A lot of time and practice. In fact, it takes millions of years of linear time experiences to do that. Cycles of time within cycles of time. Hence, humans are raised on comparison, and it is these comparisons that your human educational systems are based. The cultures and beliefs that mankind entertain. So, you have struggled for lifetimes after lifetimes within the human conditions of experience and forgetfulness of the truth of who you all are in accordance to the truth and reality of God's life and universal Christ consciousness. So to give those who may be led to these new educational programs and the seeking of the truth of who they truly are within the physical reflections they see in the mirrors of their lives, you will need help. And now upon earth you have millions of dear souls who are well versed with such evolutionary changes, and they will be attracted to you, or you magnetized to them in the perfect timing of divine order. To get many of you who are just discovering, or those of you who are already familiar with such works of the Masters and other God intelligences, not only from the Elemental Grace Alliance, but many hundreds of other divinely spiritual channels and hierarchical representatives and groups around the world, in all the languages you could imagine. It is vital that whatever you read, no matter who it is from, that you use your inner guidance to lead you in whatever direction you may like to go from here. And as you make your free will choices, always remember that your thoughts, words, and actions will only attract to you that which you bring into your lives. There are no exceptions to this cosmic law. So today, your Christmas Eve around the world, as you go forth within your family and friends gatherings in every day from this day forth, or whatever day it may be when you find these words in your hands and heart, be kind to yourselves and those around you. And to do that, the law of perfection would do you well to understand. So let us work with the words of Dan Millman today, in his integrity and understanding of the law of perfection, which I endorse wholeheartedly to get you more fervently upon your new paths of ascension and greater awareness in your future lives. I quote, "The law of perfection presents a paradox because it contains two apparently opposite truths which operate at different levels of experience. From a conventional view, this world is a place of suffering. Crime in the streets, the hungry, the homeless, the oppressed. Even without the daily news, in our own lives, when we get what we want, we suffer. When we don't get what we want, we also suffer. And even when we get exactly what we want, nothing lasts in this realm. From a transcendental perspective, seeing ourselves and this world with all its difficulties from the all-encompassing wisdom and patience and love and understanding that comes when our hearts are open, then all of it, the joys and sorrows, the suffering and pleasure, and everything going on in this moment on planet Earth is absolutely, completely perfect in terms of a great process of evolution. The reminder of the bigger picture is key for those of us who have perfectionist tendencies and higher vision, but who often lose perspective and worry about petty details. Leaping back to conventional reality, it is certainly not perfect or okay that anyone is cold or hungry or in pain. But from the larger picture, we are cells on the great body of Earth, itself a tiny speck floating in the void of space, and our personal dramas and global politics no more significant than a group of ants who are washed away as someone hoses off their driveway. Without the ability to leap to the bigger picture and take in all of the justice and all of the injustice, the entire drama of human experience, it is very hard to have a sense of humor in this world. As Woody Allen once said, not only is there no God, but try getting a plumber on Saturday. Those of us working with issues of vision and acceptance need to develop the ability to take this leap of faith, this mental shift out of our own body, our own life, our own drama, even our own socially conscious, politically correct psyche, and see, accept, and embrace all that is. By accepting the ultimate perfection of every speck of matter, every circumstance, and every person, even including ourselves, we can rest easy, remembering that however it may seem, and no matter how scary it gets, everything is okay, in some sense, as we struggle painfully towards more truth, more beauty, more kindness, and more love in the world. This shift of perspective may require an understandable stretch for some of us, especially those who, when they try to make the leap, are pulled back down with questions such as, perfect? What about the starving children? Such questions I can only answer that by accepting all things as perfect, we also accept our own responses and our own responsibility, which may certainly include doing what we can to help the world to change things, to donate time or money, to raise awareness, to act. That, too, is absolutely perfect. If we act out of guilt or out of melancholy spirit, our actions have even less impact than if we hold a larger perspective, even while doing our best to help alleviate suffering. In general, we cannot alleviate suffering in others until we alleviate suffering in ourselves. We may be able to feed people and clothe them and help them be self-sufficient. These are important steps. But they do not alleviate the fundamental causes of suffering or envy or greed in the human psyche. By our willingness to grasp the possibility that life is unfolding as it must, we have a head start. We come from a place of compassion, have learned, as Joseph Campbell quoted from the Upanishads, to go with joy among the sorrows of this world. Even when we accept the perfection or our process of unfolding as we stumble, grow, and evolve, this does not mean we are perfected. We still continue to change, to learn, to mature, and to improve our lives in functional ways. We can also improve in the sense of expanding our moment-to-moment awareness and realization of ultimate perfection. But our self-improvement needs to come from a place of prior acceptance and joy of discovery of growth, rather than as a condition of self-worth. Perfectionists also need to remember that even while the world is perfect in the transcendental sense, from the conventional perspective, no perfection exists here on earth. No person, performance, or product is going to be perfect. As the law of perfection states, excellence is the best we can achieve, and achieving it takes time and practice. No matter how hard we work or how skillful we become, we all continue to make mistakes. Improvement just means our mistakes grow smaller. We also need to accept our mistakes as perfect, whether in relationships, work, or any other arena. The law of perfection is therefore closely aligned to the law of flexibility and the law of no judgment. This understanding of no perfection can also help lift a burden from the shoulders of those of us who have extremely high vision and measure ourselves against unrealistic standards. We can all benefit from appreciating the perfection of imperfection. We can develop the capacity to view the lessons of our daily lives as perfect in the way life arranges them at the right time and right place. Our high ideals and vision of what might be and what should be, however, should be meant as beacons to call to us, to direct and inspire us, not as standards to judge ourselves by. All sorts of events, both beautiful and terrible, can happen in our world. Some we like and approve of, while others we dislike and resist. Perfect faith recognizes that our mind cannot know or assume what is for our highest good. This faith inspires us to appreciate the perfection of imperfection. Such a recognition opens doors to an expanded sense of life. Experiencing perfection. Recall a moment when you or your life felt perfect. Maybe it was a beautiful day and the people around you were happy. Maybe you felt good about yourself and your mind felt free of pressures or stress, and you expanded into the moment of pristine perfection. Now recall a recent incident, interaction, or occurrence in your life that felt unpleasant, that seemed far less than perfect. Imagine what it would have felt like to expand into that unpleasant situation with the same sense of perfection you have felt at other moments in your life. This may not feel easy at first, but remember, practice makes perfect. Applying the law of perfection. Practice this simple act of remembering. Ultimately, everything and everyone is perfect. Conventionally, nothing and no one is perfect except flow, change, and fun. Learn to say, good enough, am good enough, they're good enough, it's good enough for now. Whatever happens to us, or whatever we do, we can apply the law of perfection by asking ourselves, in what way might this be perfect? A perfect lesson? A perfect opportunity? How can I shift my perception to make something perfect out of this? End quote. Dear ones, there is nothing that you perceive within your humanness that cannot be transcended into the godly states of being, and it is through the use of universal consciousness that this will take place in the months, years, and decades to come. Humanity is standing upon a grand threshold for change. It will happen. It is already happening. If you only have the eyes and ears to see and listen. Those human eyes and ears need to be transformed into the eyes of God and ears of God or universal consciousness, and the new true constitution and I am one world nation, the cosmic Christ mandate, and a new declaration for the freedom of humanity will provide you with all the means necessary to make the changes in your lives to meet God/universal consciousness face to face, if this is what you want. But you will have to want it more than you have wanted anything in your life, more than that of your precious life's material things, for these will eventually pass you by, for they have no meaning in your new multidimensional I am one world nation life that you are now creating. Within 1 decade from now, I can say with all of my God beingness, nothing upon this earth will look or feel the same as it does today. No thing and no one. But you are going to have to change your minds about who you think you are to who you truly are. And it is your responsibility, dear ones, to make it happen. In love and light, peace and joy. The time for change is upon you. How are you going to accept or reject such changes? Call upon your higher selves and God to help you, and you will be heard. Ask, and a door shall be open to you. Take the path of least resistance. No longer seek further that which is seen. Rather seek only now that which is unseen. May you pass every test. I am your holy brother, Saint Germain. Benediction. Wondrous presence of the God I am. We give praise and thanks for this feeling of the certainty of your presence that is growing within the consciousness of the disciples and initiates under this radiation. We call your blessings, wisdom, intelligence to act through each one, giving peace of mind, peace of body, and joy of heart, to go forth as the ruling, conquering, victorious presence over all things. I am the strength, the courage, the power to move forward steadily through all experiences, whatever they may be, and remain joyous and uplifted, filled with peace and harmony at all times, by the glorious presence which I am. We thank you for giving special notice to these earnest initiates who have come under this radiation. I am the invincible legions of the Christ blue lightning of invincible purity, established in, through, and all around here and there. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful.